Hey everyone, my name is Rebecca Welch and I'm in the Creative Writing for Entertainment program. I have interviewed Andrew Towler, a writer and graphic designer for Group Publishing in Loveland, Colorado, and I will be reading Mr. Towler's answers as our interview was done via email. Much of the time, the visual arts, emphasizing on graphic design or the graphic arts as opposed to fine art, are used to establish a character image or representation of what a product, brand, or identity is trying to be or say. In advertisements, for example, choice of type, color, composition, attitude, etc. can drastically affect what the consumer's attitude is about that brand of product, most oftentimes without them knowing, and subconsciously affect their purchasing decisions. Not all design is used for financial gain, fortunately, but it does tend to be used to market something, an idea, a stance, an emotional response, you name it. There are both pros and cons, but I think the influence has been mostly positive. The negative side is the increasing demand for cheap options, such as stock photography and illustration, which is often led by a company's desire to crank out a large amount of marketing or designed materials without investing into them, quantity versus quality. And there is something to be said about our society's increasing lack of attention span, myself not included. But this tech influx has had a surprising effect on the upcoming generation's ability to discern very quickly what is worth their time and what is not, which is great for those of us, artists, writers, and any creatives alike, who want to devote our hearts and minds to the craft, as the authenticity is more noticed than it was before, and that there is an undeniable feeling of vindication there, because there's something about being a creative that makes you feel like the underdog. Secondly, technology has made it immeasurably easier to get your work out there, directly in front of the screens of the exact people whom you want to see it. Cats, haha. Honestly, it's hard to say. Trends in design are like trends in fashion. They come and go like the tides and have a weird way of popping back up when you least expect them. Currently, I would say the idealized manly man trend is starting to give way to a sort of sense of wonderment for nature. So our worship of mustaches and beards is starting to become kitsch, giving way to images of people looking tiny up against huge foggy mountains or tiny modern houses nestled in the midst of massive lush valley. I've found, in my very limited scope, that trends never really come out of nowhere. They either fluidly hop from one idea to the next logical idea, or make a complete U-turn and attempt to buck the ideas of the preceding generation. Well, most of my inspiration comes from following a good many artists on Tumblr. Sites like Tumblr are great because you honestly never know what ideas will be presented to you, and it's that feeling of surprise and unpredictability that elicits an emotional or cognitive response, in me anyway. I really enjoy work by artists like Matthias Adolfsson, which is a freelance illustrator, Pendleton Ward of Adventure Time fame, and Carson Ellis, also freelance, known for her work for indie band The Decemberists. All three have a very distinct style and a very vivid imagination, and most of all, when I look at their work, it makes me want to draw something too. Knowing famous artworks and the different styles and ideas of the old masters has mostly helped in just knowing what has been done before, what works, and what doesn't. In some instances, it helps to discern what is cliché, because there are some things you find in classic paintings, while fresh and groundbreaking at the time, that have just been done to death in our present day, from what is paying tribute. It's a very fine line, and it is always embarrassing to realize something you've put a lot of work into is blatantly, though probably subconsciously, ripping off some famous old painting. This project really has opened my eyes to the vast array of ideas and opinions on the same set of questions. I answered these same questions myself, and it really made me think about what has influenced me as a writer and artist. It was such a great opportunity to get the viewpoint of someone who is living in the industry.